Well, before we moved to Macau, we bought the house and it was not in very good condition at all. So we did sort of like small renovation. I mean, just sort of cosmetic stuff. I think at that time we would have loved to have done a bigger renovation, but we had two young ones and it was about just getting into the house and making it livable for us to move into. And then we left and moved to Macau. While we were overseas, we were put in contact with Nick, and he had put some plans together and initially put plans together to go up with a second story. It wasn't until we moved back and we thought, right, we're ready to renovate. And after moving back into the home, I realised that maybe I didn't want a second story. I wanted a smaller renovation rather than, you know, I figured less was more. The brief really was about letting in lots of light. I wanted light because after being in the small house, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of light that came in. So I wanted light, I wanted space, and I wanted to be able to maximise the space and use every little space that we had living in such a small block. I think the lifestyle that I had envisioned was to make sure the space was for everyone and inclusive, and that we were, you know, that I could be making a meal and still see my son or my daughter on the couch and that we still have that connection. I think my main concern was trust. I wanted someone who I could trust and work with, and I've heard so many horror stories about, you know, different renovations and builds that have gone wrong. So that was probably my biggest concern. So after that, after we got started with the build, Builder Trend has been amazing. I mean, I feel like I've been updated every step of the way, and that's been great. I mean, that's just built the trust as well from the beginning. I think right from the get-go, Simon was very upfront, very easy to work with, and the communication was great right from the get-go. And he came back and answered all the questions that we had, which were many, and so we were happy with that. From the planning stage to the completion of the job, Simon and his team have been professional and very easy to work with. Their attention to detail has been outstanding, and they've worked really hard to make it a good experience for us. I think what stood out most was his communication with our neighbours and with Warren and I, and he was very accommodating. Yeah, wow, like it's just amazing. It's everything and more that we sort of had planned or envisioned from the get-go. We are extremely pleased with the result and so thankful to have found SLD Projects for our renovation.